Hey everyone, welcome into Warp Factor 10, our show about all things Star Trek here on the Arena Productions. I'm your host Expat, along with my co-host Burley. Burley, here we go, man. We're going to talk about Picard Season 3, Episode 10, The Last Generation, the final episode of the season and of the series. So really excited to talk about it with you all. But first, before we get into it, just want to let you know that there are going to be spoilers throughout this episode. So if you have not watched Picard Season 3, Episode 10, the final episode of the season, please go to Paramount Plus and watch that episode before coming back and enjoying our recap, because there are going to be spoilers throughout. So this is your spoiler warning. Okay? And also, if you are new to the channel, and if you like what you see here, please be sure to hit that like and the subscribe and the notification bell for when we drop a new episode of Warp Factor 10 or any of our other content here on the Arena Productions. We really appreciate all of your viewing, and thank you so much for coming and watching our videos here. So, Burley, with that said, here we go, man. So, the final episode, boy, oh boy,
yeah.
It was really cool. I really enjoyed it. Of course, I'm going to show you all the images from, of course, what Paramount Plus dropped from the bridge crew before the episode was released. And then I'll show some other images later from the actual episode itself. But let's get into it. Boy, oh boy. I mean, yeah, you get the Titan and you get the Enterprise D, especially here. You get the Enterprise D going to Jupiter. And obviously the Borg cube is like hiding in the red dot, the storm on Jupiter. And
that was really cool. And it kind of really, I like it, shows like they do take the writing seriously and try and think of clever, unique situations of, because it was like, where is this gonna be? Oh, it's hiding out there in the gas of Jupiter in that red dot.
Yeah.
No one would ever think or look to go find it there. It's like, oh, that's actually quite clever.
Yeah, and it was clever that they did that too, because of the fact of the red door. So what does the red door represent? Well, yeah, it represents the red dot on Jupiter, obviously. So yeah, I mean, it was really cool. And boy, oh boy, that thing was humongous, wasn't it? I mean, it's like the Enterprise D is like just a little dot, there and stuff. But so anyway, it was cool how Picard, says to them, it was an honor serving with you. But there's one thing I want to mention before they got to Jupiter, which was the president of the Federation, of course, saying, "This is President Anton Chekhov of the United Federation of Planets, broadcasting on all emergency channels. Do not approach Earth. A signal of unknown origin has turned our young against us. They have been assimilated by the Borg." And then it goes on. He says, "If my father were here, he'd remind us all that hope is never lost. There are always possibilities. Until then, I implore you, save yourselves. Farewell." And so Anton Chekhov, basically, he is the son of Pavel Chekhov. His son, Pavel Chekhov's son, becomes the president of the Federation. Thought that was quite interesting. Anyway, so we get back, and Picard is like, "Okay, I'm gonna go save Jack. So, Beverly, you need to lure me to him. You need to, guide me." And of course, Riker and Worf are going to go with him. And then he says, "It's been an honor serving with you." So at that moment, I'm thinking he's going to die. It's like this is his last hurrah. He's going to go to the Borg ship and sacrifice himself to save Jack. What did you think?
Well, yeah, I agree. And he even puts it that way, like to her, to Beverly, like, "You've been protecting him his whole life. Let me do this for him. I'm his father."
Right.
Like you get all that, and then he's like, "Yeah, I'm going for one last mission," and Riker immediately like, "You're not alone. I'm going with you." And Worf's like, "Yep, I'm going with you." And then you even get Data. Data tries to go,
right?
He knows. He's like, "Okay, I need Data on here on the ship, or else we're screwed if we don't have Data here."
Yeah, and it was a good thing that he stayed, right? I mean, we're going to get to that, but yeah, I just love Picard's line, though. He's like, "What began over 35 years ago ends tonight." So it's like he's finally of course when it comes to his demons about Locutus, it's like, okay, I'm going to confront them finally for the last time, you know. And so they get over there, and obviously only 35% of the cube is actually functioning. And it's like all of these Borg drones are just like melted down, and they're just skeletons and stuff. So obviously the Borg Queen had been just, using, their, I guess, body parts or something like that. It was pretty gross, didn't you think?
Oh yeah, that was a little, that was a little gross.
Yeah,
didn't necessarily expect it to look like that.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so they find Picard finds Jack, and of course Riker and Worf go to find the beacon, and of course then on the Titan, of course the Seven and actually a cook. I mean, they still have cooks on starships. I was just like, what? I mean, back in like the Enterprise series and stuff, back in that era, I could see them having a cook. But now in the 25th century, they still have cooks,
maybe some captains don't like the whole replicator food and rather have that personal touch of a hand cook.
Yeah, I could see it being Captain Shaw being the one that wanted the actual chef on the ship. But anyway, it's like he's put into being like a helmsman and everything. And there's only like a handful of them left, and it's cool how they were able to transport the young assimilated, like with LaForge and them onto another area of the ship to seal them in, so that they could commandeer the ship.
So they could not only commandeer the ship, but all have them know where they are in one area, so that way they're safe.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then obviously, of course, they start to use the cloaking device again, but obviously once the assimilated are able to break through the door, they're able to destroy the cloaking device from the Bounty from Star Trek 4. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, it was really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and show some of the images from the episode here. But I mean, what was your take basically on Data maneuvering the Enterprise D through all of those narrow corridors of the Borg ship just to get to the area where Jack and Picard was? I mean, that was really awesome. And before that, I mean, it's like Data is like pleading with Geordi, who's now in command of the Enterprise D. He has the comm, and he's like telling, just trust me, I can do this. What did you think of that?
I like that. Data is just pleading his heart out there, and he's like, I've got my gut feeling, and Geordi's like, your gut. But it was a great scene, a great back and forth, and just seeing him maneuver, because he's the only one there that could have done that.
Yeah. And I like this image here where, of course, Beverly is controlling the weapon system and everything, and she's doing a damn good job, because it's like everybody like turns around and looks at her, and she says, "There's been a lot of things that have gone down in the last 20 years." So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. But so I mean, of course, Picard is able to get to Jack. And obviously, Alice Krieg, of course, the voice of the Borg Queen. But I mean, the Borg Queen, she just looks like a, half alien now, from the Alien films, But I mean, he's able to basically, I have to say, if you want to watch a Father's Day Star Trek show, this is the perfect episode to watch for Father's Day.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because he's like, I joined Starfleet because I wanted to find a family, and then how he told Jack that he was the missing link, he was the missing part of him, and all, and he was willing to stay with him forever there if he had to, and then that hug at the end there, that did it.
Yeah.
And then of course then Jack started pulling the plug and then pulled the plug out of Picard too as well. So what did you think of those emotional scenes?
Although the emotional scenes in this were great, because I love it. As soon as Picard enters the room, the Borg Queen is just having fun. Locutus of Borg, you finally come home.
Yeah.
And just like, taunting him.
Yeah.
Like, I have your son, and your son has what he needs.
Yeah.
And all that. It's just a great back and forth between both sides, and Picard doing everything trying to get Jack.
Yeah.
And trying to free his son.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. And then how they, it was almost like they were going to die in there, because once they destroy the beacon and, the whole Borg cube was going to be destroyed. So, but of course, Deanna is able to sense where Riker is, so she's able to maneuver, the Enterprise D into position. And that was so cool how the Enterprise D just flies right down below them or above them there, and to pick them up and all, and to get out of there. And of course they destroy the beacon, and then of course the Borg Queen, she's no, and then of course the whole cube blows up, and then all of the young assimilated in Starfleet, they turn back to normal again. So I thought that was really cool. Yeah.
Oh, there were great emotional moments there, because you had Worf and Riker going to find the beacon. They find the beacon, and they give the coordinates to the Enterprise, and it's just like, you've got that moment, because everyone's like, okay, we can blow up this beacon, save everyone, but you can see it on Beverly. She just doesn't want to do it because it's her son's right there.
Yeah.
And they're like, you got Riker and Deanna, and they're like, you've got like 1 minute, and Riker's like, he saved me how many times? I can do is give him 1 minute, and Worf comes with them.
Yeah.
And I love the line from Worf. I almost thought we were almost gonna make it out of here alive today.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, it's interesting. There's like two Borg drones that fight with Riker and Worf. You would think that on that Borg cube there would be more than just two drones, and then it's like, Riker, he's trying to pick up Worf's sword, and he's like, yeah, it's so heavy, but then it's like, he pulls out the phaser thing in there. It's like, you had this in there the whole time, a phaser, and you didn't use it. And then Worf's like, swords are fun.
So, he's not wrong.
Yeah. But so anyway, of course, they destroy the Borg, and things go back to normal, in a sense. And so we have this like almost like a time jump. But before we do that, I want to get to the scene with Seven and Tuvok, because I thought that was a really powerful scene, because she was about to quit Starfleet again. And then Tuvok gives her the performance review from Captain Shaw, and so we get Captain Shaw again one more time. And I just love what he said. He's like, Hansen is reckless, she's unrelenting, doesn't give a damn about protocol or procedure. However, she's brave and loyal, and the book she writes is going to be great, and the rules that she breaks, maybe they were broken to begin with. And then he says that it's his recommendation that she be promoted to captain when they get back to space dock. And that was so emotional. And I mean, the tears, you can see the tears coming from her eyes there and everything. And then of course Tuvok is like, request for, leaving Starfleet denied. Captain. Yeah. I thought that was really cool. Yeah.
It's nice that we did get Captain Shaw one last time, even though it is just a hologram.
Yeah.
It was nice to get him back for this season finale. And it's nice to see Seven get what give Seven to be a captain.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping this leads to eventually, hey, maybe 7 of 9, give her a small series. I would definitely watch a series of her being a captain, and having her doing her own adventures.
Well, anyway, of course, Jack, he joins Starfleet. He's now an ensign, and of course, he's like pacing back and forth in the shuttle as Picard and Beverly are taking him to his first assignment. And of course, we get the reveal of the Enterprise G. Of course, the Titan the name was rechristened as the Enterprise G. Now, honestly, I felt what they should have done here. This is just my opinion, but what they should have done is do the same thing they did with the Enterprise D, to put the Enterprise D in the Fleet Museum there. And that was such a great scene as Geordi and Riker and Picard were on the bridge of the D one last time at the Fleet Museum there. And they were playing the same music from Star Trek Generations at the very end of the movie, as they were walking off of the bridge and the lights were going off. I really, really love that scene. But I think the Titan should have been put in the Fleet Museum as well. And then a whole brand new ship, like the same model, the Odyssey class of the Enterprise F. They should have just made a completely new ship and made it the Enterprise G. Because, I mean, the Titan is small. If you compare it to like the Enterprise F, boy, it's small.
Yeah.
You know? So I mean, I was kind of like, they make the Titan the Enterprise G. I just didn't. That's the only part of the episode I was like, I kind of didn't like so much. How about you?
Yeah. I agree with you, but it didn't get to me as much. But
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was a great scene. I mean, of course, and for Picard, I mean, it was an emotional moment to see, the Titan become the Enterprise, naming it after him in a sense. So, that was cool. And then of course Jack is on there. And then yes, of course, Seven is the captain, which is really cool. But we didn't get to see her, say make it so or punch it or whatever. It's like they left that. Which I thought was interesting, when the Enterprise G took off for the first time, and Rafi is the first officer. So, which is interesting because of obviously the past relationship between Seven and Rafi. How is that going to play out?
Which they didn't. That's one thing with the season. They did not address that at all.
No, not at all. Yeah,
they just like, that was season 2, so we don't want to address it. So it's not getting addressed.
Yeah, not getting addressed at all. Yeah, but and then of course Jack becoming the counselor to Seven, which is interesting because I think the reason why she made him the counselor there is because of when they were at the Fleet Museum the last time, and he was giving her a lecture, and then she says, "Oh, you are definitely your father's son," I think that was the moment that she, was looking back on. It's like, okay, I want him to be my counselor, so here you go, sit down next to me there. So I thought that was cool. And then of course, Sydney, she got a promotion. She's now lieutenant, lieutenant junior grade. But anyway, Burley, let's get to the end of the episode. Obviously it was really cool. You see the Next Generation crew playing, poker and stuff there at the table. And, you get the music from Star Trek and all. And that's the reason why during this season, during the episodes at the very end, it's like we were getting the music from First Contact, obviously because of the Borg, But anyway, I mean, at the end, of course, Jack is in his quarters, and guess who shows up? Q.
Yeah, this I did not see coming. Q was back.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, if they are going to make Star Trek Legacy or whatever it's going to be, if it's going to be a spin-off series with the Enterprise G, John Delancey obviously is going to be coming back, and he's going to be toying with Jack now instead of Picard, because he's like, his trial is over, now yours is beginning. So I mean, this is a storyline that they could play with for a long time. What do you think?
Yeah, and it's kind of nice to see John Delancey back. Like, because I didn't like that whole thing with Q dying in the season and into season 2 and all that, the way he was going is like,
yeah, but
no,
I mean, did he really die? I mean, it's like as he was saying, you know,
they-
you mortals think so much in a linear sense, you know. So
well, this was them. This was them course correcting from season 2.
okay,
Let's be call
Yeah.
it what it is.
yeah,
This
I'll
is
give you that
them-
one. Yeah,
This is them course correcting, and I do like this. And you know what? I'd love to see what they'll do with it.
yeah,
Like, are we
Yeah.
going to get this show? Because as you said, Jack is on the ship with 7 and 9.
Yep.
Like, are we going to get a show with this and have Q be involved, test them? How
Yeah.
is he going to test them this time?
yeah.
What are we going to get?
Yeah, what species is he going to throw at them this time? I mean, like with the next generation, he threw the Borg at them. So what kind
Yeah.
of species, even more terrifying species than the Borg could we get? I mean, that would be interesting.
Well, there is that one. I can't remember this the species what they're called, but they're more malevolent than the Borg. They were in Voyager in Janeway had
847. I think species 8472. I think that was. I don't remember. Let us know in the comments. But yeah,
Yeah, where
I know what
Janeway
you're
had to
talking
make
about.
a pact with the
Yeah.
Borg to survive.
yeah. And we did not get Janeway in this episode.
Yeah.
So I thought we were definitely going to get Janeway at least for a moment or two, but we did not. But we did get Tuvok. So yeah. So
Yeah.
Discovery, or not Discovery. I'm sorry, Voyager.
Voyager.
Voyager was represented. Discovery, there's nobody in sight from that series. So. But speaking of other series, of course, in June, obviously, Strange New World Season 2 starts. And of course, we're going to be bringing you, obviously, our recap episodes for each and every episode. And then probably before the episodes, when they drop some clips, we'll be, of course, throwing some videos up of those, as well as sneak peek images from the next episode. So yeah, Star Trek Strange New World Season 2 is coming soon, and we're really excited to bringing it to you here on the Arena Productions. So overall, Burley, what is your assessment of Picard Season 3, the final season?
It was a dang really good season. This was a really good. It had a few little moments where I didn't like, but overall it was a great season.
Yeah.
I can actually say this was a better season 3 than Mandalorian season 3.
Yeah, well, that Mandalorian, that's another franchise.
I know it's another thing, but
yeah,
it's just
yeah, I agree with you, man. I mean, of the 3 seasons of Picard, this was obviously, I mean, far and away the best season. And,
hands down.
And I mean, there was a lot of fan service in this season, obviously, but yeah, it was, and it possibly has set up the future of some series that might be coming out in the future. So yeah, really excited, and yeah, it was a great season all in all. So I hope all of you enjoyed it as much as we did here on the Arena Productions. So anyway, I've been your host Expat, along with my co-host Burley. We hope to catch you for any other big Star Trek news that comes out. We'll try to drop them for you here on Warp Factor 10, our show about all things Star Trek. And then, of course, in June, we're really looking forward to, and we're excited about Star Trek Strange New World Season 2, which we will be bringing you recap episodes each and every week when those drop. So anyway, I've been your host Expat, along with my co-host Burley. Live long and prosper, and we will catch you in the next one. So peace.